Welcome back everyone to a brand new SkillCapped video, and in this one, it's time for an update on the best solo carries of 12.5. As always, we'll be covering 3 champions for each role who our analysts believe to possess the greatest ability to impact games for the current meta. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Champions who can abuse Hullbreaker are loving life right now, and there's no better option than Tryndamere. Keep in mind, even though Hullbreaker was nerfed this patch, the changes only affect ranged champions. Trynd's identity is built around split pushing and being a monster in the 1v1, so a Hullbreaker rush fits in so well. Hullbreaker being 500 gold cheaper than Bruiser Mythics gives Trynd a window to really punish his opponent. Especially if you're able to grab some early kills, you'll have Hullbreaker in no time and start dominating the side lane. Just make sure to ban out Malphite, as his armor stacking and attack speed slow are insanely annoying for Trynd. The core build is a Hullbreaker rush into Gale Force 2nd and Navori Quickblades 3rd. Once these 3 items are completed, it's a cakewalk, as your mobility and dueling power goes through the roof. Rune Page is lethal tempo with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Second Wind and Unflinching work best for secondaries. One of the best solo carry top laners who fits in perfectly with the current state of the meta is Quinn. The buffs from a few patches back were game changers to offer Quinn even more early game snowball power. With all these melee Hullbreaker abusers being played in meta, Quinn is an exceptional answer. You can beat them up throughout the first few levels, deny them a ton of farm, and really halt their ability to become impactful. What pushes Quinn over the edge is her ability to impact the map prior to 14 minutes. At level 6, you can be so much more proactive than other top laners and look for roam plays to get your team ahead. Just like for Trynd, Malphite is a great ban choice for Quinn. There are so many viable build variations right now, but Shield Bow into Wit's End and Stormrazor is most consistent. Run PTA is the keystone with Overheal, Bloodline, and Cut Down. Optimal secondaries are Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. Rounding out the solo carry tops for 12.5 is none other than Shen. Shen has been way too consistent of a pick throughout all of Season 12. Teleport changes has given even more value to Shen, as he can offer map impact, which few other top laners can. Auto-attack reliant Hullbreaker users are relatively easy for Shen to deal with due to his W. Aatrox or Mord, both spellcasting bruisers, are good bans to consider. Game plan for Shen is to play around E and W cooldown, look for trades when they're up, and play back when they're down. After chunking the enemy out, it's easy to finish them off with a taunt flash into Ignite combo. Once you've won lane, be aware of what's going on around the map and abuse your ultimate while the enemy is stuck on an island. Core build is a Frostfire Rush into Demonic Embrace 2nd and Thornmail 3rd. Grasp with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize work best for primaries. Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter are the go-to secondaries. If you want a jungler with top-tier engage power and amazing early gank potential, there's no better than Hecarim for 12.5. Ghost with E and Phase Rush give Hecarim ridiculous sticking power and make his ganks so lethal. If you can get in behind the opponent, you're almost always guaranteed to burn their flash, and since Ghost is on a shorter cooldown than Flash, it's easy to repeat gank for a guaranteed kill when Ghost is back up. As long as you're prioritizing lanes with strong gank assist, you should have no issues gaining massive early game leads. Once Chemtank and Manamune are completed, it's GG. Chemtank allows Hecarim to be really tanky, while Manamune provides plenty of damage. Don't forget to grab an early tier to get that stacking. From then on, you just build full tank, are extremely difficult to take down, yet can solo kill enemy squishies with ease. Optimal keystone is Phase Rush, followed by Nimbus Cloak, Celerity, and Water Walking. Triumph and Tenacity are the best secondaries. Without question, the strongest AP jungler for the current meta is Diana. Reaching level 6 unscathed is the key to succeeding on the pick, as you become a monster with ultimate available. Definitely a polar opposite playstyle to Hecarim. A Rocket Belt Rush has taken more priority over Nashers in the recent patches. Access into skirmishes and raw burst power is greater with Rocket Belt. It's no issue at all for Diana to obliterate the enemy team once she's in range of ultimate, but getting there can be difficult without flash, so Rocket Belt active really helps in that regard. Nashers should only be purchased when against a heavy bruiser or tank enemy comp. Conqueror is the best keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Free Boots and Cosmic Insight are the way to go for secondaries. There's a lot of variety in the jungle right now, as we went from a bruiser to an AP fighter, and now the best AD assassin in Kha'Zix. Ka's been on a steady rise in recent patches, with the likes of Viego, Xin Zhao, Master Yi, Qiyana, and Nunu falling in power. Kha'Zix is an insanely good first strike abuser and can do so much with such a little advantage. The rune page allows for Ka to accelerate into his mythic item much faster than the opposing jungler, giving him a massive edge up. With the point-and-click one-shot power, it's relatively easy to capitalize on the item discrepancy. Mythic purchase really depends on preference and the game in hand. Duskblade is most popular, but Prowlers can work great as a hyper snowball-y purchase, while Eclipse is strong into heavy burst. Ghostblade 2nd and Edge of Night 3rd are very consistent. Despite a couple minor nerfs in 12.5, Ahri will retain her spot in the top 3 for mid. Ahri's been so far ahead of everyone else prior to the changes, so the nerfs only help to bring her a bit closer to the mean. Our alterations have turned Ahri into the ultimate solo carry mid. The 1v9 potential in skirmishes is massive, as you can go from target to target and clean everything up with constant R resets. Veigar and Fizz are 2 good ban options. Everfrost Rush into Shadow Flame is the cookie cutter build, but there are many alternatives as well. Luden's is great into squishies, while Liandry's is best into health stackers. Lichbane is a highly underrated second pickup if enemy comp doesn't have heavy shielding. Runes are Electrocute with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ultimate Hunter. Biscuits and Time Warp Tonic are great for secondaries. Our second solo carry mid is Vex, and she has a lot of the same strengths as Ahri. Both champions possess resets on Ultimate, which offer so much snowball power and the ability to run away with games. Shutting down melee mids is Vex's specialty, and we see so much of them played in solo queue. Vex has a positive win rate into Yasuo, Katarina, Yone, Akali, and Sylas, which is pretty nuts. The fear and shield built into Vex's kit allows her to fend off those champions super well. Mages like Ahri and Veigar are the only meta mids giving Vex some issues, so using your ban on one of them is a good idea. Vex's core build consists of an Everfrost Rush into Shadowflame 2nd and Zanya's 3rd. Electrocute followed by Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ultimate Hunter are primary runes. Best secondaries include Biscuits and Time Warp Tonic. One of the most consistent mid laners throughout all elo brackets, but especially for the lower ranks, is Veigar. Scaling power is insanely strong, and by running Predator as your keystone, early game impact is not to be undermined. Of course, first few levels are very slow for the champion, but if you can survive unscathed, it's only up from there. In the past, Veigar heavily relied on reaching a few items to be effective, but that's not the case anymore. Predator popped with Veigar E is one of the most reliable pick tools in the game. Since Cage lasts for a few seconds, if your team follows up and the enemy doesn't have flash, it's a free kill every time. Shoving out mid lane and looking for these roam plays will reward you handsomely. Everfrost into Rabadon 2nd and Zanya's 3rd is the standard core build. Grab Predator with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ingenious Hunter. Mana Flow and Transcendence work best for secondaries. Zeri has shaken off recent nerfs very well and slots in as a top 3 solo carry for 12.5. If anything, the champion is even more versatile now, as she can succeed with a bruiser or crit setup. Trinity Force Zeri is best for most games, but rushing Essence Reaver when against a tankier comp is a great idea. The core of Trinity into Hurricane and Titanic gives the champ a monster 3-item spike. You can play way more aggressive than most traditional ADCs due to the tankiness and added movement speed from Ultimate. Weaving in and out of fights is a breeze, and it's so difficult for the enemy team to catch you out. Lethal Tempo is Zeri's best keystone with Triumph, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Pick up Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter for secondaries. Jinx has taken over Jhin as the most played solo queue ADC, and it's not that surprising to see. Jinx is an incredible solo carry ADC, as her kit offers so many great tools to completely take over a game. Jinx's passive is super broken for mid-game team fights, as you get that one kill and become unstoppable with bonus movement speed and attack speed. You can keep a nice distance with the added range from Fishbones, and even have great burst potential with the execute damage on Ultimate. Few marksmen provide more raw carry power than Jinx. Best build for most games is Gale Force into Fire Cannon 2nd and Infinity Edge 3rd. Kraken with Hurricane is viable too, but should only be purchased when the enemy comp is very tanky. Run Lethal Tempo as the keystone with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Cut Down. Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm are very underrated for secondaries. It's been the Jhin and Jinx show for multiple patches in a row, and that doesn't change in 12.5. Jhin is one of the most reliable ADCs you can play, as you're always going to get something out of the pick. The follow-up on engages and pick potential is amazing with W and Ultimate, while damage output on 3 items is really scary. For a champion who's picked in around 25% of games, he's only banned 4% of the time, which is quite insane. Gale Force into the Collector and Fire Cannon is the core build. Fleet is Jin's most consistent keystone with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm are heavily slept on for secondaries. Renata Glask makes her first appearance in the solo carry top 3. Renata is the jack of all trades, as she has a little bit of everything, from engage power, the ability to disengage, and even buff up allies. The revive mechanic is also extremely influential and very annoying to play against. There are 2 different build paths going around right now, one being more passive and one more aggressive. Mandate into Staff of Flowing Water and Ardent Sensor is great to maximize your carry's damage output. For stronger pick potential and to take matters into your own hands, a Shurelya's into Putrefier and Redemption works great. Glacial is being overlooked as Renata's keystone with perfect timing, biscuits, and time warp tonic. Bone plating and unflinching are the best secondaries. Blitzcrank continues to rise above all else as the best playmaking support in the current meta. We were thinking Riot may potentially follow up with another nerf, as the 12.4 change didn't hurt Blitz at all, but that hasn't been the case thus far. As long as enchanters like Lulu, Yuumi, and Karma continue to be picked as much as they are, Blitz's value will remain very high. Not only is Blitz great in meta, but his ability to influence games from his catch plays and roams is amazing. There are so many different ways you can impact a game with Blitz, and even if your ADC is garbage, you can pick up Moby Boots and play second jungler for your solo laners. Locket or Shurelya's Rush is standard with Zeke's second and Wardstone third. Run Glacial as the keystone with Hex Flash, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Bone Plating and Unflinching are optimal secondaries. And for the third solo carry support spot of 12.5, it goes the way of Senna. Senna has been such a value pick ever since her Q buffs a few patches back. Q slow with fleet speed boost gives Senna an extra layer of kiting power she was missing out on before. Senna is one of the few supports who can dish out considerable damage yet still provide her team utility. Racking up souls allows you to scale super well, and you're basically a second ADC if the game goes long enough. Most consistent build is an Eclipse into Manamune and Fire Cannon, however, Locket into Redemption is very sleeper OP. In games where your team has plenty of damage, opting for the more supportive build works really well. When playing the carry build, you'll want to opt for Fleet as the keystone, however, Airy works best if you're going the supportive route. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank-up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. And with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you back soon.